Look around you. The world is divided into two kinds of people, those who dream and those who achieve. What separates them? Not luck. Not circumstance. Not even intelligence. The difference is a single, unshakable force: desire. Everything you see around you today, everything first started in the mind. Listen to me, and listen to me carefully. The starting point of all achievement is desire. Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small fire creates little heat. So I ask you now, how badly do you want it? Do you want success as desperately as a drowning man wants air? Or is your desire just a passing wish, soft, timid, easily forgotten at the first sign of resistance? Every empire, every innovation, every legend born on this continent and beyond, began with a hunger so fierce it refused to be denied. The pyramids were not built by idle dreamers, they were raised by men and women who burned with vision and desire. So I challenge you today. Stop waiting for permission. Stop blaming fate. Stop blaming your government. If your desire is not keeping you awake at night, if it does not shake you from complacency, then you are not yet ready to claim greatness. But if you dare, if you are willing to fan that flame into an inferno, then nothing, no force on earth, can stop you from achieving what is yours. The question is simple: what do you desire, and what are you prepared to do about it? Welcome to Timbuktu Lectures, a production of Kilimanjaro News Network, the authentic voice of Africa. We studied the lives of over 25,000 men and women who achieved extraordinary success, and I can tell you this with mathematical certainty. Every single one, from Nelson Mandela to Aliko Dangote, from Mo Ibrahim to Barack Obama. These men who went from obscurity to greatness. Not by magic. Not by chance. But by mastery. They mastered themselves. They mastered self-discipline, initiative, and definite purpose. These are not traits of the lucky. These are choices of the determined. Each one reached deep and unlocked the vault within, not with permission, not with luck, but with a strong desire and with decision. They refused to wait for rescue, refused to beg for validation. And each one, without exception, built a mind of steel. These are the signs that mark the soul of the chosen. The first step toward riches is not a step, it is a fire. A blaze that starts in the mind, then consumes the body until action becomes inevitable. That fire is desire, the kind that burns boats, levels excuses, and refuses to be denied. Let us begin with a real story, not of a foreign land or a borrowed name, but of a son of the African soil, Aliko Dangote. He did not arrive at his future in gold-plated shoes. No. He began with a vision, and he moved toward it like a man possessed. He was still a boy when the idea of business took root. But not just any business, the kind that would touch every home, every kitchen, every construction site in Africa. Cement, sugar, flour, salt. He saw it before it was real. And that vision did not flicker. It expanded. Dangote saw himself in boardrooms before he had even built one. He saw his factories before a single brick was laid. His desire was not a hope. It was not a wish. It was a fierce, pulsing hunger that refused to fade. The people around him could only see a young man selling small bags of sugar from the back of a pickup truck. But inside, he was already a titan. He worked long and tireless years before the door opened. No promises. No shortcuts. Only the silent, relentless push of his own vision. Dangote burned the bridge of comfort. He took a loan from his uncle not to consume, but to build. He reinvested every gain. He kept nothing for leisure. Only progress. The man had a plan, and nothing outside of that plan could distract him. 5 years. 10. 20. Now look around. Dangote cement is in your city. His sugar sweetens your tea. His salt seasons your food. And still, he wakes before dawn while you are still fast asleep. Why? Because that kind of desire does not sleep. It only evolves. This is not a tale of luck. It is the tale of a man who staked his future on a definite desire, then shaped reality around it. You may envy him today, but you did not see the early mornings, the rejected proposals, the sweat of building Africa's largest industrial empire on African soil. He started small, but he dreamed large. And he never retreated. That is what it means to desire with power. A long time ago, a great warrior faced a difficult choice. He had sailed with his army across the sea to confront a formidable enemy. The men were fearful. The enemy was numerous. But when they landed, the warrior gave a single command: burn the boats. Now, he said, we win, or we perish. That is what burning desire looks like. You must give yourself no way out. No retreat. No exit door. Only forward. Whether it was Nelson Mandela, who emerged from prison and refused bitterness, or Barack Obama, who rose from community halls in Chicago to the highest office on earth, you will find no greatness without fire. No triumph without an unshakable decision. The world sees the victory and calls it a miracle. But it is no miracle. It is the result of a man or woman choosing a single goal and backing it with all they have. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. But wishing will not bring riches. Desiring riches, with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches, and backing those plans with persistence which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. This is not opinion. It is law. And it applies whether you're in Lagos or Lusaka, Accra or Atlanta. Riches respond not to hope, but to precision. Not to passivity, but to obsession. Here is the method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent. It is no respecter of persons or pedigree. It will work for you as surely as it worked for Tony Elumelu, who started with modest beginnings and built a banking empire. Or Ashish J. Toka, who fled genocide as a child in Rwanda, yet built a Pan-African conglomerate before 30. These men did not wait. They began. As you must now begin. The steps are simple. But make no mistake, they are sacred. Now, I am going to give you the practical steps to riches, that have been tried and tested, by all men who have achieved great success. Pay attention. The 6 definite, practical steps to riches. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not enough to say, I want plenty. Be precise. Declare it. Own it. Write it. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. What service? What product? What value? You will not get something for nothing. That is a universal law. Third, establish a definite date by which you intend to possess the money you desire. Set a deadline. Vague dreams invite vague results. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire, and begin at once, whether you feel ready or not, to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. State the time limit. Name what you intend to give in exchange. Describe the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud, twice daily, once before retiring at night, and once after rising in the morning. As you read, see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of the money. This is not poetry. This is programming. Mental programming. You are rewiring the way your spirit sees reality, and when the mind changes, the world follows. You may say, but I don't believe it yet. That is fine. That's exactly why we begin with desire. Because once your desire burns hot enough, belief comes chasing after it. Faith follows fire. You must become money conscious. That does not mean greedy. It means focused. It means you have allowed your mind to become so saturated with the idea of wealth that you can see it, feel it, touch it, even before you've drawn a single coin. It may seem foolish to others. That's good. Most of them are broke. Ignore their logic. Let them laugh. Every builder of empires was once called delusional. And while they laughed, men like Mo Ibrahim, a Sudanese-born engineer, began investing in telecommunications on African soil, laying the foundation for Keltel. He saw phones in the hands of rural farmers long before others believed it possible. And now? His net worth speaks on his behalf. This is the power of burning desire, backed by vision, held firm by belief. You are not required to possess any special education to apply these steps. Dangote did not need Harvard. Strive Mosiyiwa did not begin with investors. You do not need wealth to attract wealth. But you do need to see it, and then work as if it were already yours. No one ever built a fortune by accident. And no one ever will. You may as well know, right here, right now, that you will never have riches in great quantities until you are able to work yourself into a white heat of desire for money, and actually believe you will possess it. And more than money, you must believe in your vision, so deeply that others mistake it for madness. Every great leader, from the dawn of African civilization to the present hour, was a dreamer. Not a wishful thinker. A dreamer of structure. Of fire. Of form. One who could see realities in their invisible state, and insist on them until the world complied. Christianity is the greatest potential power in the world today because its founder, yes, Jesus the Nazarene, was a dreamer. One who saw invisible kingdoms, and walked them into reality. And this same principle lives in every son and daughter of Africa who has dared to dream. Nelson Mandela dreamed of a nation healed of the wounds of apartheid. He saw reconciliation while still imprisoned. He saw ballots where there were only bullets. And though it cost him nearly 3 decades behind bars, the world finally bent to his vision. Barack Obama stood on the steps of the Capitol and swore an oath no black man had ever sworn in that place. He was called naive. He was told America was not ready. And yet he moved, not because the world believed in him, but because he believed in himself. Strive Mosiyiwa once sat in Zimbabwe with no infrastructure, no promise, and a government that tried to crush him, but he kept building. He fought in court for 5 long years for the right to operate his business. 5 years of delay, and still, he persisted. Today, Econet spans over a dozen countries. Dreamers. All of them. And if you do not see great riches, or great change, in your imagination, you will never see it in your bank balance or your country. Let me be plain, this is Africa's moment. Never before has there been such opportunity for practical dreamers on this soil. Technology has leveled the field. Ideas matter more than inheritance. And a new race has begun, a multipolar world not against the West, but against our former selves. Yes, the old rules have died. Fear, dependence, and self-doubt have been buried with the bones of colonial programming. This new world demands new ideas, new businesses, new kinds of leadership, new forms of education, new industries rooted in African needs, new confidence. And at the center of all this demand stands a single requirement: definiteness of purpose. To rise in this hour, you must know what you want, and want it so fiercely that no one, not family, not failure, not fatigue, can talk you out of it. The old world is dying. The business depression, on African streets or global markets, was merely a contraction before birth. A new age has arrived. And it requires practical dreamers who are bold enough to act. The pattern makers of tomorrow are already among us. The children with dirt floors but cloud-based dreams. The girls who sell vegetables today but code apps by candlelight. The boys in slums who draw solar panels on cardboard. Do not pity them. They are becoming. And mark this, the true leaders of the world have always been those who take unseen forces, thoughts, and convert them into buildings, factories, movements, revolutions. They pull ideas from the sky and forge them into iron. They walk into the invisible and return with the tangible. This is your birthright too. If you are African and breathing, you have every tool required to build your future. No excuses. No crutches. Only decision. Let no one shame you for dreaming. It is dreamers who build nations. Remember, the mud huts of yesterday become the smart cities of tomorrow, only if someone dares to imagine it first. Let us be clear. To win the big stakes in this changed world, you must catch the spirit of the great pioneers of the past. The dreamers whose visions gave civilization its most enduring treasures. Let us not forget the great Mansa Musa, Emperor of Mali. He dreamed of a kingdom so rich and ordered that even centuries later, tales of his pilgrimage to Mecca and the wealth he carried still echo in the minds of men. His vision was not just of gold, but of culture, libraries, scholars, and mosques across the Sahel. His wealth was legend. But it was built on a dream first. Kwame Nkrumah dreamed of a free and united Africa while others were still kneeling under colonial flags. He envisioned not just Ghana's independence, but a Pan-African future, and though that dream is still unfolding, his voice awakened a continent. Thomas Sankara dreamed of self-reliance for the people of Burkina Faso. He refused foreign aid, planted millions of trees, and said the revolution would be lived in daily bread and dignity. He did not live long, but his dream now outlives regimes. Miriam Makeba, voice of exile, sang to the world of African beauty, pain, and resistance. Her sound stirred hearts across borders. Banned at home, she still stood on global stages with her head high. Because she had seen a future where the African woman would no longer be silenced. Ilumelu dreamed of economic liberation, not through charity, but through capital. He launched a foundation to fund African entrepreneurs with his own wealth, not when he became a billionaire, but because he had been one of those struggling dreamers once. Mo Ibrahim, after building one of the most successful telecom companies in Africa, stepped away from business and offered millions to encourage good governance. Because his dream was not just profit, it was a continent with leaders worthy of its people. Ashish J. Toka, born a refugee, dreamed of building a Pan-African enterprise. With a borrowed $5,000, he launched his first business. Today, his ventures span technology, finance, and space. Space, from Africa. Mandela? His dream you already know. But mark this, his power was not in the dream alone, but in his ability to endure for it. For 27 years, he held that dream through iron bars and concrete walls. And when the world finally opened the door, he walked out without hate. That is the power of an uncorrupted dream. Success requires no apologies. Failure permits no alibis. If what you wish to do is right, and you believe in it, do it. Put your dream across. Never mind what they say. They once laughed at Aliko Dangote. They called dreamers foolish until they succeeded, and then they praised them as visionaries. If you are mocked, ignored, ridiculed, good. It means you are early. The crowd always arrives late to greatness. Remember, every failure carries with it the seed of an equal or greater success. It may take time. It may require you to walk alone. But if your desire is burning, it will carry you through the storms, the silence, and the sabotage. Let us close this chapter with the story of a young African whose life stands as living proof that a burning desire, when backed by faith, can defy even what nature calls limitation. Musa Mother was born in the township of Sebokeng, South Africa. At the age of 10, he was diagnosed with bone cancer. The doctors gave his family the choice. Either let the cancer spread or amputate his left leg above the knee. They chose life. But what they didn't choose, and could never have predicted, was that this boy would later dance his way across stages on one leg. Musa had never trained formally. In fact, he first picked up dancing watching other kids in the streets. He felt the rhythm inside him. And when he danced, even on crutches, something clicked. Where others saw loss, he saw choreography. Where the world expected sadness, he moved with joy. And every step he took on one crutch became a declaration: I am not broken. I am becoming. He was told he couldn't compete with able-bodied dancers. He competed anyway. He was told the stage was for those with symmetry. He answered with soul. And in 2023, he stood on the global stage of Britain's Got Talent, not just as a participant, but as a finalist. With a single crutch and the heart of a warrior, he danced in a way that made millions weep. And when they asked him, How did you do this? His answer was simple. Desire. Desire to move. Desire to express. Desire to live fully, even when a part of him had been taken. That kind of desire laughs in the face of odds. It breaks the rules of biology and statistics. It commands the world to make room for its unfolding. Musa's life today is not defined by what he lost, but by what he refused to lose, his dream. This, too, happened on African soil. And if one leg can leap into destiny, then you, with your 2 good legs, your full mind, your breath and spirit, have no excuse. Let no man say Africa lacks examples. Let no child believe their future lies only in foreign hands. The proof is in our bones. The power is in our people. You have been disappointed. You have lost things that mattered. You have failed. Perhaps more than once. Maybe you are failing now. But take courage. For these very experiences, the hunger, the heartbreak, the humiliation, are the fire that tempers the spiritual metal of those who are becoming. You are not being buried. You are being planted. All who succeed in life begin with some rough, unpolished struggle. Every single one. Let's speak plainly. Trevor Noah, before he was on global stages, before the world laughed at his sharp mind and watched his rise, he was born illegally. His very existence under apartheid law was a crime. His father was white. His mother, black. And so his childhood was one of hiding. Of confusion. Of contradiction. But it was that crisis of identity that sharpened his wit. It was the laughter he used to escape pain that would one day become his currency in the world. The boy who once ran from the police for simply being born is now one of the most influential African voices on the planet. Not despite the hardship. Because of it. Or take Angelique Kidjo, born in Benin, raised in a world that told women what they could and could not do. But she sang anyway. Loud. Bold. Political. She fled dictatorship. Faced censorship. But she never muted her voice. Today, she holds Grammys in her hands, but what she really carries is a history of resistance set to music. She is proof that the soul cannot be colonized when the dream is intact. And then there's Malcolm X, yes, from the diaspora. A boy whose father was murdered. Whose mother was institutionalized. Who ended up in prison. Forgotten. But it was in that prison that he met his other self. He read. He reflected. He transformed. He walked out of that cell no longer a statistic, but a symbol. A storm of clarity. A voice that shook empires. The pattern is always the same. The hardship comes. The world doubts. The dream survives. And the other self is born. That part of you which you have not yet met, that part that will not quit, even when everything else folds, that part is forged in the dark. You do not need to avoid the struggle. You need only survive it, and use it. Because your pain is not the proof that you are cursed. It is the proof that you are called. Every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. But the seed does nothing unless you plant it. Unless you believe that within the very thing that broke your heart lies the blueprint to build something unbreakable. Belief is the beginning of receiving. There is a difference between wishing for something and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until they believe they can have it. Not wish. Not hope. Believe. And belief begins with open-mindedness. You cannot walk through a door you refuse to see. A closed mind cannot birth courage. It cannot nurture faith. It cannot receive miracles. So ask yourself, what is easier? To expect failure? Or to expect abundance? To aim for scraps? Or to aim for glory? Because, truth be told, both cost the same effort. The great secret is this. I bargained with life for a penny. And life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening. When I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life would have willingly paid. You see? The world is not withholding. We are under asking. Do not ask life for a penny. Ask for ownership, for impact, for legacy, for nations rebuilt, for ancestors redeemed. And ask boldly. If nature bends to desire, who are men to deny it? If you still doubt whether desire, pure, obsessive, burning desire, can rewrite reality, then look again to our African continent. To our people. To your own story. How many mothers have raised children with nothing but scraps and hope? How many fathers have labored with hands cracked and bleeding, but are set on a better future? How many dreamers have stood barefoot on red soil and still dared to speak the language of kings? If Mother Nature, with all her forces, all her finalities, can be bent by faith-backed desire, then who are men to declare anything impossible? We may not fully understand how this transformation happens. Science may one day give it a name. But we know this. Desire has power. Desire has form. Desire becomes. So plant your desire deep. Mix it with faith. Speak it aloud. Write it down. Begin. Africa does not need another echo. It needs a voice. Yours.
Congratulations. You have just heard it said, and I say it again, desire is the starting point of all achievement. Not talent. Not connections. Not luck. Desire. And not the kind that flickers for a moment and fades at the first sign of difficulty. I'm talking about the kind that burns boats. The kind that sees empires while standing in sand. The kind that gets up every morning even when the body aches and the wallet is thin and the world is quiet. Because here is the truth etched into every success story we've heard in this lecture. You do not get what you deserve. You get what you demand with discipline. And your demand is measured by the intensity of your desire. So I ask you, what is it that you want so deeply you'd cross deserts for it? What is it you would build even if no one clapped? What is it that wakes you up before the alarm? If you cannot name it, the world will name it for you. And you will spend your life chasing salaries, not visions. But if you can name it, if you write it down, if you breathe it, if you feed it daily with your words, your work, your worship, then I promise you this. The world will bend. It will not bend quickly. It will not bend easily. But it will bend because the laws that govern this universe were written to obey those who walk with clarity, faith, and fire. So leave this place, this lecture, this moment, with more than notes. Leave with decision. Leave with the courage to want something so fully that the ancestors rise from their graves to walk beside you. You were not born to be a beggar in your own land. You were not born to be a spectator in this life. You were born to desire, to declare, and to do. The world is waiting. Africa is watching. And your name has not yet been fully written. Write it now with desire as your ink. Timbuktu Lectures is a production of Kilimanjaro News Network, the authentic voice of Africa. Broadcasting in Swahili, Arabic, Hausa, English, and French. Don't forget to like, share and scan our QR code to access our YouTube channel and website. Revisit this lecture again and again. Share with your focus group, mastermind, friends, and family.